All right, family, let's jump right in. Dear Dr. Dandridge, I had dreams I've worked towards for years, but circumstances beyond my control have made them impossible. I feel stuck, heartbroken, and uncertain about my future. It's almost like mourning a version of myself that will never exist. Wow. How do I grieve a life I imagined while still finding hope and purpose in the one I can actually live? Thank you so much for writing in and for allowing us to truly have this conversation. It's one that I don't believe a lot of people truly come to grips with, but every single one of us experiences. The grief of personal dreams and personal ambitions not being met is real. And we all encounter it, whether with career, whether with our finances, whether with our love life, whether with our spiritual journey, whether with our educational journey. There becomes a time where we hit the wall so many times where we realize that it's a dead end. And then we have to accept that we've got to turn around and start essentially all over again. I use the Waze app for my navigation, and one of the voices or one of the characters that comes on whenever I'm having to make a U turn when I'm driving says that it's okay to regroup and to reposition yourself. It's okay to go inside of a different direction, but it's hard. Let's just be honest. When we have these dreams and these ambitions and these things that we truly have our heart invested in, and they don't take place in the way that we want them to take place, it hurts. And we do go through a stage of grief as it relates to these things not coming to fruition like we want them to. There's a couple of things that you say inside of your letter. You said, but circumstances beyond my control have made them impossible. First, I want to acknowledge your wisdom for coming to grips with the fact that it's just not going to happen. I see a lot of people who get stuck in the bargaining aspect of grief. In other words, it's almost like, well, what if I try this? Or what if I try that? Or what if I do it this way? Or what if I do it that way? And they get stuck there to where they're just spinning their wheels and spinning their wheels and spinning their wheels. And they never truly accept this just isn't for you. I can attest there are some things inside of my life to where I had to come to grips like, Wendell, I don't care how many things you try, this just is not your thing. This just is not your cup of tea. At one point, I had done the exam and the classes and whatnot to be a real estate agent. And I had taken the test and failed, and I had taken the test again and failed, and I had taken the test again and failed. And yes, I had a lot going on at the time that I was trying to do this thing. But at some point, I had to say, this might not be what the universe wants me to be doing right now. And even as it relates to other aspects of your life, you've got to move beyond the bargaining and into acceptance, because your bargaining could be hindering you from entering into a season of your life that you are genuinely meant to be in. When I started my journey as a hospice chaplain, I did not want to come. I was kicking and screaming because I had been in sales for 15 plus years. I had not even thought about being inside of the medical field, especially as a hospice chaplain. And when I tell you all, like I said, I came kicking and screaming, and I went through that bargaining phase for about a year where I was like, well, maybe I can try selling this, or maybe I can try this company, or maybe I can go to this corporation instead. And it just wasn't working. It wasn't until I got to the stage of grief, grieving my old job and my old career, and I accepted that this was now going to be my new reality, that I'm now able to be in front of you all today. There are a couple of things that you said inside of your letter that I want to address very quickly, and then I'm going to let you all go. You said, I feel stuck, heartbroken, and uncertain about my future. All of these feelings that you have are 100% valid. I do want to encourage you that you can get unstuck, that your broken heart can heal. And although you might be uncertain about the future, hold on to the hope and possibility that you have a future, that there is something ahead. Think about individuals who hit that brick wall, hit that dead end, and have no future at all. At least you're at a position and you have what seems to be a level of wisdom to where you know that you're going to have to pivot. You know that you're going to have to go into something different. You know that you're going to have to do something that is probably outside of your comfort zone, but that is 100% okay. To answer your question, how do I grieve a life I imagine while still finding hope and purpose in the one I can actually live? I believe that you answered your own question. At the end of your question, you said, in the one that I can actually live. Live your life. No, it's not what you anticipated it to be. No, it's not what you envisioned it to be. No, it's not what you had dreamed of happening. It feels as though that these plans that you made were unmet, but guess what? You are still alive. There is still breath in your body. There is still something that you there's still something that the universe has woken you up for today, that has given you the purpose to live. And you might not know what it is for some time because you're still kind of focused on that plan that was. But as you're working through the grief of these personal dreams not being met, there's something I used to say years ago. I used to live by three words: dare to dream. And then I had to change. I literally changed. I live by those three words: dare to dream. For anyone who's known me for any length of time, I lived by those three words for probably 10, 15 years. It was not until recently that I heard a poem, and I'm actually going to put it at the end of this video so you can listen to it, where the poem talks about daring greatly. And that's really what I even had to transition as far as the season of my life into, where I had to transition from, dare to dream was working. And that's another thing. We can probably have another conversation about that because there are parts of the plans that do work. And dare to dream was working for me. But I got to a point where dare to dream was no longer working. And now I'm daring greatly. And because of that shift, because of that acceptance, because I stopped bargaining and stopped being angry at my dream for not taking place, now I'm inside of a much happier place, a much joyous place, a much more hopeful place about my future. So I would just encourage you to keep living. I would just encourage you to keep doing. I would just encourage you to keep being. Stop trying to associate your identity on a noun and keep being a verb. Just keep doing what you feel is right inside of your heart. And another dream may come to fruition. Now, I can't tell you when or how, but you never know how things will play out inside of your life. But first, we've got to get you through grieving what did not happen so that you can truly embrace what is about to happen. Okay. I hope and pray that these words and that this conversation, encouraged you and then also encouraged someone else inside of our community that's listening. Thank you for joining me at my desk. I'm Dr. Dandridge. This has been Designing Your Goodbyes. I'm going to put that poem that I stumbled across many, many years ago right up here inside of the corner so that you can listen to it and be encouraged by it yourself. I will see you all inside of the next episode. I'll be right there to welcome you as soon as you hit the play button. I'm going to put that one over here. Okay. Peace and blessings.